is not just another comeback. It's a test, a real one. Because when Emma Raducanu walks onto the clay courts in Rome, she won't just be facing opponents. She'll be facing questions. Questions about form, fitness, confidence, and most importantly, timing. After weeks away from competition, the spotlight feels sharper than ever. And here's the twist. There's no gentle return waiting for her. No easy path. No slow build-up. Instead, what she has in front of her is one of the toughest draws you could imagine at this stage of a comeback. Now think about this for a second. The last time Raducanu played a competitive match was at Indian Wells. Since then, a viral illness completely disrupted her rhythm. While others were grinding through tournaments, building match sharpness, adjusting to clay, she was sidelined. Watching, waiting, recovering. And now, she's jumping straight into one of the biggest clay events of the season, the Italian Open in Rome. That's not just a return. That's pressure. But there's something about Raducanu that makes this situation fascinating. Because even when the odds look stacked, she has this unpredictable edge. You never quite know what version of her is going to show up. And that mystery, that's what keeps fans watching. Let's break down the challenge ahead. Despite her ranking slipping to number 30, she still gets a first-round bye. That's the good news. But from there, things get complicated very quickly. Her second-round opponent could be a qualifier, or someone far more dangerous like Maria Sakkari. And Sakkari, as we know, brings intensity, physicality, and experience. So right away, Raducanu could be thrown into a high-energy battle. No warm-up match, no easing in. If she manages to get through that, the third round isn't exactly forgiving either. Players like Alexandra Ila, Magdalena Frech, or Wang Xinyu could be waiting. Different styles, different challenges, but all capable of making life uncomfortable, especially for someone short on match practice. And here's where things get really interesting. Even if Raducanu finds her rhythm early and pushes into the round of 16, she might run into a familiar face, Coco Gauff. That name alone carries weight. Last year, Gauff dominated their meeting in Rome with a convincing win. Fast, aggressive, relentless. So the question becomes, has enough changed since then? Because Gauff on clay is a completely different level. Her movement, her defense, her ability to turn rallies around, it's elite. And for Raducanu, coming in without recent clay matches, that's a serious test. But let's say she gets past that hurdle. Let's say she finds something special and keeps going. Then comes the next wave. Players like Marta Kostyuk, fresh off a title run, could be waiting. Or perhaps the experience of Karolina Pliskova. Or even the consistency of Ekaterina Alexandrova. These are not just opponents. These are players who know how to close matches, how to handle pressure, how to exploit weaknesses. And for Raducanu, every round becomes less about survival and more about adaptation. Because clay isn't forgiving. It exposes movement, patience, and shot selection. You can't rush points the same way you might on hard courts. You have to build them, construct them, endure. So the real battle here isn't just against opponents. It's against the surface itself. Now, if she somehow pushes into the quarterfinals, the level goes up again. Names like Madison Keys, Alina Svitolina, or rising threats like Victoria Mboko enter the conversation. Players who bring power, experience, and confidence. And by this point, fatigue becomes a factor too. Not just physical fatigue, but mental fatigue, especially for someone who hasn't played matches in weeks. Then come the semifinals. And this is where things almost feel unreal. Imagine facing Iga Swiatek on clay, or going up against Jessica Pegula, or even Naomi Osaka rediscovering her rhythm. Each of these players brings a completely different challenge, but all of them share one thing. They're used to winning at this level. So where does that leave Raducanu? Technically, she's the underdog in almost every possible matchup beyond the early rounds. But sometimes that's where she thrives. When expectations are low, when pressure shifts away, that's when she can play freely. And if she somehow makes it to the final, just imagine the storyline. Facing players like Aryna Sabalenka or Coco Gauff again, or even rising talents like Mira Andreeva. It would require not just skill, but something deeper, resilience, belief, and maybe even a bit of magic. But let's pause for a moment and look beyond the draw. Because something important is happening behind the scenes. During practice sessions in Rome, there have been positive signs. Real ones. Not just hopeful talk, but visible intensity. Sharp hitting. Aggressive shot making. And that's where Greg Rusedski comes in. A former British #1. Someone who understands the pressures of the tour. He's been watching closely. And his observations? They're encouraging. He noticed Raducanu stepping into her forehand, playing aggressively, taking initiative. That's not something you see from a player lacking confidence. That's a sign of intent. And maybe, just maybe, that's the key to her entire campaign. Because for Raducanu, this tournament isn't just about results. It's about momentum. It's about rediscovering rhythm. About feeling like a competitor again. Rusedski believes that if she can string together a few wins, everything could start to click again. And that's not unrealistic. Tennis is a sport where momentum can shift quickly. One good match can lead to another. Confidence builds. Timing returns. But, and this is important, it won't be easy. Her current season record sits at 7 wins and 7 losses. Balanced. Uncertain. It reflects exactly where she is right now. Still searching for consistency. And Rome? Rome doesn't wait for you to figure things out. You either arrive ready, or you get exposed. So what should we expect? Honestly, it could go either way. She might struggle early, still adjusting, still finding her footing. Or she might surprise everyone. Catching opponents off guard, playing with freedom, building momentum round by round. That unpredictability is what makes this so compelling. Because with Raducanu, you're never just watching a match. You're watching a story unfold in real time. A player trying to reconnect with her best level. Trying to prove something not just to the world but to herself. And maybe that's why this comeback feels different. It's not about hype anymore. It's about resilience. It's about whether she can take everything that's happened, the setbacks, the time away, the pressure, and turn it into something meaningful on court. So as she steps into Rome, the expectations might not be sky high. But the curiosity, that's through the roof. Can she handle the grind of clay after such a long break? Can she compete with players who have been building form week after week? Can she turn practice promise into match reality? Those are the questions. And over the next few days, we're going to start getting answers. But now, I want to hear from you. Do you think Emma Raducanu can make a deep run in Rome despite the brutal draw? Or is this just a stepping stone before bigger results later in the season? Drop your predictions in the comments. Let's talk about it. Because one thing's for sure, this comeback is going to be very, very interesting.